let's try to just, really try to wake up the side body. So, you can kind of bend and straighten the right foot and then reach the right arm away from the right heel, just straight up. And it can even kind of go back and forth, just reaching and stretching. Yep. So really just pushing through the foot and then feeling kind of all the way up through the hip and then the ribs reaching away. So again, just kind of focusing on just lengthening the distance between the ribs and then between the ribs and the pelvis. So we'll just come into like a kneeling position to get into our cat-cow. Kind of moving, yep, here. Any way that feels good. And then imagining you kind of leading with the ribs, so the front ribs coming down and then back, and just kind of generating the movement from the base of the ribs. And then when that feels complete, we'll just make our way up to standing. And then when you're ready, go ahead and inhale the arms overhead. Yep, just settling in here. And eventually we'll take the crescent stretch over to the left. Yep, so anyway, rooting down, really expanding now. So not just the right side, but also the left side too. You can inhale and lengthen and exhale, bend over, and then switch sides when it's ready. We'll do 2 times each side. So just bringing the rib cage mobility, really adding to the respiratory efficiency, just really making the space for the lungs to expand and contract. Then we'll just come up to center, nice big inhale, really extending. You can stay here on the exhale. And just feel the length that you're creating all through your body. And then next big exhale, we'll clasp behind the back. Yep, and then just kind of puff up the chest. Nice big inhale. Then with control, we'll bend the knees and then take the forward fold. Yep. Just fold it in, bend the knees as much as you need to. Just kind of bringing length to the side body as we're unweighting the spine. And then whenever that feels complete, just release the arms and kind of ragdoll or move around in this forward fold. Yep, again, just bringing our awareness to the sides of the ribs. Really just bringing the length and the expansion. Creating space. And then eventually we can halfway lift, extend, find that length, and then big exhale, forward fold. And we'll just come into the high push-up, top plank. Yep, so here, scapular on the back, belly's in, but really just imagining lengthening, really the distance in the ribs and the hips. Then we'll just bend the knees, downward facing dog. Yep, and we'll just go ahead, first one, walk it out, kind of spread the toes, spread the hands. And can just inhale forward to plank again, kind of moving between, so really keeping the length in the side of the ribs, and then downward facing dog again. Yep, trying to create even more space, pressing into the hands. And then big inhale, we'll lift the right leg up, really extend, and then step through, keeping the back leg straight. Hands can be on blocks if you want. right up here. And then in this position, really imagining lengthening. A couple breaths. You can move back and forth, creating freedom in the hips. And then we'll just leave the left hand down and then rotate the right arm up for the twist. Next exhale, we'll just fold it in, re-extend and lengthen as much as possible. Then we'll bring the back knee down and lengthen and just press up, kneeling low lunge. Arms can come up. And we do this also, you've done this pose so many times, but really just focusing here with the big breaths and then taking some side stretches. So creating space to move forward is we're thinking about sails. So let's just go into the hamstring stretch here. Nice and easy movement. But when the sail is closed, the seams are closed, it doesn't let the wind in, but when we open it up, we can harness all that wind energy to move forward. So then once the hamstring stretch is complete, we'll come back into this runner's lunge, find a little more length, and then just step back to plank and then downward facing dog. Fantastic. So we'll just go second side, left leg forward to the runner's lunge. Yep. Super good. So just taking every little micro adjustment in your time here. And then imagining just that lengthening, openness. When you're ready, we'll take the twist. Left arm reaches up. And folding it in, re-extending, and then bringing the right knee down, pressing up for the kneeling low lunge. Lengthening here, and then side stretching, whichever feels appropriately aligned, and lengthening, all that good stuff. Yep, and then hamstring stretch this side. Yeah, bowing in. You can move your foot anyway if that helps. And then coming back into this runner's lunge, real strong, extended, and then to the plank, downward facing dog. Awesome. So in the down dog, we're just going to take the heels over to the left, push into the hands to try to imagine more length in the side body. Maybe see about lifting the hips up, pushing away, creating more space as we're grounding down. And then just gently switching sides when it feels appropriate. Excellent. And then back to your downward facing dog. And really lengthening again. Then we're going to lift the right leg up. Super extended, bend in the knee, and just twist open. But with the intention of trying to pull the pelvis in the opposite direction of the ribs. And then we'll just square off the hips and step through to the kneeling lunge again, finding more extension, more openness with less effort than just pressing up, hands on the hips here, and then we'll just make our way into our lunge. So this is that peak pose, crescent lunge, and your arms can go anywhere if you want to go up or hands on your hips, but still right here we're just imagining as much length as possible. Kind of full expression. And then next big exhale, coming into the runner's lunge. We'll bring the back knee down, and then with as much length as possible, we'll just take the twist to the right. Then big exhale, we'll fold it in, step back to our downward facing dog. Inhale to plank, and then exhale, let's just take the right hand to the outside of the left ankle. Couple deep breaths. And then inhale back. You can use that one arm to extend out, back to plank, and then downward facing dog. We'll go second side when you're ready. Yep, so left leg opens up the hip. Let's open the hip first. So from here, I think we're just gonna kind of heavy in the hands. Yep, just to get a little more length, and then with that nice core engaged, then we're gonna square off the hips and step through to the kneeling low lunge. Here, just settled in, grounded, and then extending. Yep, and then when you're ready, we'll take that crescent lunge. Excellent. A couple more big breaths here. Maybe get a little lower, and then feel the ribs rising. And then the next exhale, we'll come down to our kneeling low lunge. And with as much length, we're going to open up. Yep. And big exhale, we'll fold it in, make our way to our down dog. Inhale, plank, and then exhale, just coming into that twist. Left hand to the outside of the right. Yep, just a few deep breaths here. Yep, down dog. And then, how are your hands?
They're good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, let's just come feet to hands. We'll just unweight them for a second. And forward fold. Halfway lift. And then fold. Let's take the right leg behind the left. Kind of fold it in a little bit more. Really trying to extend the ribs away. Sit bones up to the ceiling. And then just switching sides. Yep, back to center, fold. Let's just come all the way up, nice and tall. And then exhale, release. Inhale, we'll just reach up, ribs up, and then folding it in. We'll step back to our plank. We're gonna do a little side plank series. So what we'll do is, say we'll go to the right side, right plank here, really ribs away. Then we're just gonna kind of lift, inhale, reach up, exhale through, Inhale up. And we'll just do 3 of those on each side. So the idea is, yep, squeezing in, activating the obliques. Inhale, extend, lift the hips all the way. Beautiful. Exhale, squeeze. Yeah. Hips lifted. There we go. Yep. And next one. Yep, so lift, thread through, and then dip, lift. Good. Awesome. So a little activation of the obliques and then still lengthening. Yep, then we'll just go downward facing dog. And let's take the heels to the left again. Find that side stretch, see if we can get a little more. So push the hands and lift the hips. See if we can lift the hips to the ceiling. Get a little more stretch, maybe to the lat, and then the second side. Amazing. Okay, let's go down dog. We're just really starting to cool down now. Inhale to plank. We'll go right knee to the right elbow, squeeze it, then bring the right foot underneath. Yeah, so really I'm just trying to get a stretch on the outside of the hip, pushing into the hands. Those deep breaths, ribs expanding, rib mobility. You got it. Second side, so left knee, left elbow. Yep, and then underneath. There we go. So nice core activation, pushing into the floor. See if you can lift your hips, and then bring the foot a little closer to the windows maybe, and those deep breaths. Awesome. And then one last downward facing dog. Just kind of walk it out. And let's bring the feet in between the hands. We'll just come into a seated position. And let's go ahead and try to get into the adductors a little bit. So as wide of a leg forward fold as you can get. And here we can even sit up on a block or the blanket to kind of prop up the sit bones. So as we're in this wide leg, so legs are as far apart as possible, toes are up, and we really just want to imagine, main thing is the ribs coming away from the hips. So if it feels okay to tilt forward, you can, but main thing is let's just try to pull, with this massive adductor stretch, try to pull the ribs away. Excellent. And then if there's anything left where you can fold forward a little more with that length. Yep, and try to release. Harnessing the wind in that precise direction. All that effortless power going in the right direction. And you can gently come out of it. If that feels good, turn over to the right leg. Gentle fold. Again, just really lengthening both sides of the body. Nice and easy. Release. And then second side. Yep, and we'll bring the feet together. Would you prefer to finish in a seated meditation or Shavasana? for your rest. Shavasana. Okay, cool. So then let's go ahead and finish with a few more stretches. We'll make our way supine and really just allowing full extension from the base of the spine all the way to the crown of the head. Wiggle around. And let's take the right foot underneath the left, grab it with the left hand. So it's a little quad stretch if it fits, or you can just hook the right foot on the back of the left heel and kind of pause there and imagine that right knee going straight out. Yep. We'll go same leg, just over figure four stretch for a second. You can clasp or not, it's up to you. Just a few breaths, and then from there we'll just go into the twist, knees falling to the left, and then gaze to the right, if that feels good. But no rush. Main thing, let's just try to emphasize our awareness on that lengthening still, from the ribs away from the hips, and then big breaths. Then we'll take it all to the second side, so the quad stretch, left foot goes underneath the right. Yep, see if we can not flare the ribs as much as possible. Yep, and then just really lengthening. Letting the sails get all that wind. This is also good for your respiratory efficiency, low back decompression, and core integration. So winding it down, still lengthening. Yep, figure four, and then the twist. Yep, let's see if there's any way you could get your shoulder a little more on the ground. Yeah, and then just kind of release, like let it be a little more passive.